Okay, I already took over. Sorry, my bad. We were going to come back and we were going to lightly talk about what we talked about before our break. Cheryl, can we have you go ahead and kind of just do a recap, and then we're going to move on to the next subject.
I was thinking during the break that I probably do need to add my freight in because I brought my inventory in as vendor non-specific.
Okay.
Because I don't care who I get it from. But some of the vendors that bring it in don't charge me freight if I'm over so much, but their cost is higher. And the one that is charging me freight, their cost is lower. If I don't add the freight to it, I'm really not comparing apples to apples, and it's going to throw me off in my inventory costs. All of a sudden, I'm going to have something really low, and then if I bring it in from another vendor, it's going to be really high, where that was the low one wasn't really my real cost of bringing it in because I didn't add the freight. So I'm thinking that adding the freight there originally is probably what I need to do.
That's where you need to focus right there. Okay.
Yeah.
And which will eventually put it, it'll make it hold it here. This will already be holding, and then you'll just be paying stuff off. But this, all of a sudden, as soon as it's attached to an invoice, filters its way up to the P&L.
Yeah.
Okay? Perfect, perfect, great. Any other comments or questions or anything? Shannon, do you have any comments or questions?
No, I thought it was good. It reminded me of there's like, when you're in a system or maybe even when you're in an environment, there's about 1 million different ways to walk to your destination, right? So pick your preferred path or whichever one fits in best with your flow or makes sense in your mind. But there are a lot of ways to the rabbit hole. So
There are. There's lots of different ways. And my dad, he actually is like, Brandon, you need to kind of say these are best practices. This is what we're doing, and this is what. There are certain things that you need to do that, but there are other pieces that are kind of like, how do you want to play? Like, so I like the scenario of, say, like a pool. Okay. So you have a little diving board up here, and this is the little kiddie pool with the steps or whatever. Okay. What are you going to do? Like, it's literally, this is what we offer you. Okay. You're at the pool. Are you going to sit over here and suntan? Are you going to come and jump off the diving board? Are you going to just swim laps? Like, what are you going to do? Basically, this is what we do for Adilas. Here you go. What do you want? You know? And then you kind of dictate how you're going to play in a way. So anyway, I better take my eraser away or my little marker away because I'm having way too much fun.
I think it's great. I definitely think best practices would be nice for some things where you're not really sure how to use Adilas to track that, or to just give you some idea of like, here's a way to practice it, or here's a best practice way. And doesn't mean that other ways, but you're right, especially where there's multiple right ways. You probably feel like, I don't want to make someone do it this way. But so maybe that's again where a user guide comes in. Like, here's one potential way. Instead of saying best practice, like, here's a way to do it.
Correct. And so
because there's so many. So
it kind of depends on your goals.
Yeah.
And this is another thing that you mentioned right here, okay? You said systems, which end up giving you cause and effects and all this kind of stuff like this. When you're in a system isn't necessarily just a rigid 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, okay? That's called a process. A system is like interconnected. Like, even think of your body, okay? Imagine if every single time we had to turn our head, we had to go, and we finally got it around, okay? We're this way, up, down, look, you know, something, we're driving, our head's constantly just like, it's fairly mobile, okay? That creates freedom. It does create problems. What happens if you're driving and you get in a wreck? Instead of it going like, doing a certain turn, well, it might get jarred, okay? But it's actually a freedom. So there's kind of a cost-benefit relationship type thing. But I would say dealing in a system actually allows for all of these different little pieces to kind of play in, and then guess where we're going to catch it? On the balance sheet. You take a snapshot in time and you're completely out and you did something completely wrong. You're playing in the sand trap over here underneath your, you're in the sand trap or you're out in the woods. The thing that will help catch you is the balance sheet, okay? Yeah. It's literally that snapshot in time. How am I looking? Oh, you're good, you're good. Oh, how am I looking? Like, it's just a snapshot in time.
I think that is one of the reasons that Adilas is so good is because you've got a basic structure and then all of us use it different ways. If it were too rigid and you could only use it one way, then it would dump a lot of sound.
It would. So what happens, and once again, we've kind of already drawn this little thing. I hope you're okay if I pull my marker back out, okay?
We like it.
Traditional people want to see things balanced perfectly. Operations, accounting, perfect. I couldn't draw an exactly straight line, okay? Adilas plays like this. Start, flex, start, flex, start, flex, okay? That's operations, okay? The accounting does the exact same thing, okay? We literally, our model looks more like this, if you will, and then we add these checkpoints, these little gateways in between there. Permissions, holding areas, what's happening, pass it over time, okay? This looks ideal, okay? This right here might look, oh my goodness, look how funky that's getting. But guess what? It depends on how close you are to this. We had this little analogy that was kind of funny, okay? So say, for instance, you had some grass, okay? Okay, that looks kind of like grass. Pretend that that's grass. Actually, I'm going to switch from a marker to a pen so you can kind of see it better. Here's some little grass, blades of grass, okay? Not a big deal, right? That looks kind of crazy. Depends on how big you are. If you're an ant, that might be super small, okay? What would this grass look like if you were, say, like a cat? Okay, not quite as bad, huh? How about if you're a human? How about if you're an airplane? How about if you're a, spaceship or whatever? Like, depending on how close you are to these data, it might actually depend on how crazy this looks. So even though this looks like, oh my goodness, you guys are flexing all over the place, well, it is important when you're in the detail level that we're flexing at the detail level. When you pull all the way back out and you start summing things up, guess what? You just pulled yourself out from the ant view to the airplane view. Let's pretend like this is the airplane. No, that's not a very good airplane. You get the idea, okay? It totally is different. Are we dealing in the ant level? Or are we dealing at the airplane level? Accounting eventually wants to get to the airplane and or way high up level, okay? But the day-to-day things that are happening, guess what's really happening? Like it's just kind of going all over the place. But once you get up here, it looks perfectly smooth because you can't see all of these things because it's literally being bounced around like that. It ends up looking like that because we allow flex, okay? Airplane versus ant. How detailed are we looking at?
Or you could say perfect world with the flat and a real world with the, yep, things always keep happening.
You know what? We know that things are going to happen, so we play in a dynamic world, okay? Here's another analogy. If you guys like analogies, I love them. I think they're great. It's how I learn. Let's see here. I'm actually missing my little piece of the puzzle here. So imagine a target, okay? I'll draw one. No problem. You got the middle, you got the outer ring, and you got another outer ring, okay? Where's the goal?
Center.
Okay, awesome. How small is that?
Smaller than the other rings.
Okay, so let's go like this. Let's say full automation, totally done, to the T, absolutely done, okay? Maybe I need to interact a little bit. Fully automated. What do you think Adilas does? We're hitting probably right here, fairly close. We're not fully in the middle, okay? We're going to automate. 75% of every activity that you do, we're going to automate it. And there's a little bit that you need to kind of refine to get it perfectly. That's how we play. It's kind of like, if you can think of that target, because like some people are like, well, how come you don't automate this? And how come you don't automate this? And some of it we're like, what? Like, where are we going? Where do you want it to go? And who's paying for all this development? You're expecting it to be done off-the-shelf Walmart style type thing. This is something we are literally pioneering. So we basically have this little hand cart, if you will, or a little wagon. Here's my little wagon, and here's my little horse. or my oxen or whatever. I'm teasing. I'm kind of just being funny, but like we're kind of pioneering this, and so but they're expecting it to be a package that's done. Here's what we're doing. Guess what? We are hitting the target. We are hitting the target. Hitting the target. We're slowly going to keep focusing in more and more and more and more towards this. Okay, that's what we're kind of looking at it like. Hey, we're putting you on the board right now. We're putting you on the board right now.
The thing about it is having worked with packages that are off the shelf, complete and total, by the time they're designed, produced, and put on the shelf, there's things in it that are obsolete. So because you guys are dynamic and changing as it goes, you are much more able to keep up to where the cheese is, going back to that analogy, than somebody who has it all packaged or something and nothing can be changed.
This is an interesting thought, okay? Like sometimes people say, are you guys an accounting software? Oh, or are you an operations software? Let's say POs, inventory, and so operations, are you an accounting software? Some people go like this, I'm an accounting software and I might dabble into operations, okay? Or some people might, well, we're in operations and we just pass it off to a different person to do all the accounting, okay? What Adilas does is we say, why don't you do the whole thing, literally, okay? All in one, operations will lead, and it will slowly start coming up the field, if you will, towards accounting. Cause and effect relationships. We're going to feed accounting directly according to what your actions are. There's no reason I want to feed accounting if nothing is happening, okay? But we'll let you kind of like let it feed on up there. So I would say Adilas is an awesome operational that can take it to the accounting level. Is it required? No. I could literally run on this bottom tier here, or even just a portion of this. Say I just wanted to do CRM functionality. I'm right here playing, and that's it. I don't even have to play with these other pieces. If you want it, because it's a system and it's all included, you can play that way. But it's not required. We have many companies actually who are like, you know what? I love Adilas for this, 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 and this, and this, but I don't use it over here. Okay? We don't care a lick. Literally, like a smorgasbord, a buffet. You can get that kind of an option.